ना मैम?
हेलो।
हाँ मैम, यू कंटिन्यू. यस मैम, यू कंटिन्यू.
अब आ रही है आवाज?
यस मैम.
हाँ, तो हम प्राइम नंबर के बिहेवियर की बात कर रहे थे कि जब हम अनंत की ओर अग्रसर होते हैं तो प्राइम नंबर के आने की पॉसिबिलिटी क्या है। प्राइम नंबर थ्योरी में the number of primes up to n, pi n is approximately n upon log n. इससे उसको कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं कि pi n की वैल्यू pi upon log n है। यदि pi हम 11 की वैल्यू निकालें, pi 11 is equal to 5. These are known algorithms to computer exact value of pi n. यदि हम वैल्यू 10 to the power 20 का निकालेंगे तो इसको हम यहाँ तक हम can be calculated quickly and accurately with modern computers. क्या इसकी कोई निश्चित मेथड है nth प्राइम निकालने के? तो अभी तक जितनी रिसर्च हुई है उसके आधार पर हम कह सकते हैं आ रही है आवाज?
यस मैम.
जो अभी तक हमारा जो नॉन लार्जेस्ट प्राइम नंबर है वो है 2 to the power 4312609 minus 1, and this is called a Mersenne prime number. Mersenne is a French mathematician and he has all prime numbers to the power p minus 1 are prime number where p is prime. तो इस मेथड को वंदना गुप्ता मैम कही है। हाँ मैम, शेयर कर दो, उनका कॉल आ रहा है।
Hi everyone, this week I'm going to be making a series of videos about Ramanujan. This has been inspired by the release of a new film about Ramanujan called The Man Who Knew Infinity. The story of Ramanujan is he came from a poor background with no formal training in mathematics. He was largely self-taught, but he sent a letter of his results to the Cambridge mathematician G.H. Hardy. Now Hardy recognised Ramanujan's talent and invited him to Cambridge to work with him. This is round about the time of World War I. Now unfortunately Ramanujan died just 5 years later, but he left behind a large body of work which is now considered works of genius. He is certainly considered one of the most naturally gifted mathematicians. Now I spend a lot of time telling people that maths isn't about formulas and equations. The problem with Ramanujan is he was all about formulas and equations. He loved formulas and equations. He had thousands of them. So this is my plan. I'm going to take you on a mathematical journey. I'm going to tell you a bit more about Ramanujan, a definitive list, and we're going to take that journey without the use of a taxi cab. So I thought a nice place to start would be to show you Ramanujan's first ever published result. This is something he published while still in India, but he only had a couple of maths books to work from. He did go to college, but he was so obsessed with maths, he ended up failing all his other subjects and he had to drop mathematics. And it was this formula. This is an example of something called an infinite nested radical. So you've got square roots of square roots of square roots going on forever. And he posed this formula as a challenge to its readers. I mean, feel free to try and solve this for yourself. Sometimes you can use the nature of infinity to your advantage. Here's another example of an infinite nested radical. Okay, so what we've got here is the square root of 1 plus the square root of 1 plus, and that goes on forever as well. Now notice, after the first 1 plus, all you've got there is just a copy of the whole thing. So we can replace everything after the first 1 plus with x. And now we get a very simple formula which mathematicians find quite easy to solve. I mean, I can tell you the answer to that. Then in that case, x is the golden ratio. So that's 1.618 something something something. Now, in theory, you should be able to use the same idea to solve Ramanujan's challenge. Now, when he did this, he had no reply. 6 months went by, no reply. In the end, Ramanujan had to provide the answer himself. Now I'm going to tell you the answer if you don't want to know. I'm going to tell you the answer now. The answer to this formula is 3, which is gloriously anticlimactic, which I think is what I like about it. What Ramanujan had actually done is solve the problem far more generally. He had actually solved this expression here, which doesn't look anywhere near as nice, but you can solve it in the same sort of way. If you call this f of x, then everything after the first square root is actually f of x plus n. So now you get a much nicer equation to solve. Let's just solve this by observation. Just notice that f of x equals x plus n plus a. That is a solution to the formula. So in the case of Ramanujan's challenge, you set a equals 0, n equals 1, and x equals 2. In that case, you would get Ramanujan's formula equals 3. Ramanujan continues sending in results to the Indian Journal of Mathematics, but meanwhile he has to get a job. So he got a job as a clerk at Madras Port Trust, and there he found friends and supporters who took an interest in his mathematical work, and they encouraged him to write to Cambridge mathematicians. Now that's where I want to pick up from in my next video, and we're going to have a look at another of Ramanujan's
Yes, ma'am.
हेलो मैम, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी। हेलो रेखा मैम, आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
Hello.
Now audible, ma'am.
Thank you, Megha. I, Rekha Jain, on behalf of the Medi-Caps University, extends a hearty vote of thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Vandana Gupta ma'am, for his informative lecture about prime number. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enlightened word. Due to some technical error, we could not able to continue her lecture, but the matter that we have listened from madam is very informative and useful. Thank you so much, ma'am. I extend my thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sunil K. Somani sir, to take out his valuable time from the busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us to conduct such kind of program. Thank you, sir. A special thanks to Dr. Preeti Jain, Dean Science, for her constant motivation and support. I must not forget to thank the organizing team, volunteers for working hard for making this event successful, especially my department faculty members and Dr. Pranjali ma'am and Rima Singh for constant efforts for this program. I would like to thank Registrar Dr. Pradyuman Yadav and his staff for providing all kind of support. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our technical team, Ms. Amrita Mantri and Mr. Surikant Soni, for their contribution. Last but not the least, all the participants of this program, thank you so much for your patient hearing. Happy Mathematics Day to all. Signing off, Rekha.